Welcome, wanderer, to the home of Danny the Dead One. To my shame, I can't offer better hospitality. My enemy got here first.
I am not that wanderer. I'm but a simple traveler.
Save it, Javi. I get around. At least, I used to before Durf took over my foundry, locked up my men, and cut down my ropes.
Ropes?
When I ran the foundry, I had rope lines strung all over Duckerland. That's how I moved parts so quickly, see? Ropes.
Sounds like quite an operation. Like you were building an army.
I could supply 100 armies. But what does that matter now that Durf and his paid muspels have taken everything?
Are any of these rope lines of yours still usable?
Not many. But if someone were to free my men, we could string them back up. Get you across Duckerland in no time.
Seems like a reasonable bargain. Where are your men imprisoned?
Locked inside the foundry. There are 2 sets of keys, each carried by a muspel.
So, if I retrieve the keys from the muspels and free your men, you will repair the rope lines.
If you free my crew, I'll take back the foundry and, by Durin, we'll tie more knots than the Nornir!
I can free Danny's dwarfs.
Who says he has no right to speak, pressing his head down with his foot. Meanwhile, as the Queen of the Elves takes care of her baby, she asks her daughter if Lintian truly holds a grudge against humans, and the girl emphasizes that they are indeed in trouble. Upon hearing the elven mother's doubts, Lou arrives, informing her that the boy had already mentioned that he would take revenge on humans, and for this reason, he likely does hold a grudge. Fascinated by Lintian, the Queen of the Elves highlights how determined he is and that he never lets an offense go unanswered, which is why he is the most special goblin she has ever seen. Enchanted by Lintian, the Elf Queen highlights how determined he is and that he never lets an offense go unanswered, which makes him the most special goblin she has ever seen. The elf blushes and thinks that even in that regard, he is powerful, and it felt strange to her, as if she wanted to be conquered by him even more. Meanwhile, in another location, a goblin is talking to the MC, informing him that the second generation elves who were hunting have returned. They had returned earlier than expected, and were carrying multiple prey on their backs. The frantic goblin informs the chief that they were back. The MC asks why they returned so early. Was the hunter? He says they killed all the monsters in the back and could only go up to the forest, but they found goblins massacring the tribe. The MC asks what tribe the rest was being massacred by the local goblins. Another goblin says it was the Big Farm tribe. When they divided the camps to find monsters, they ended up finding several tribes with their monsters. The MC finds it interesting that all of them are large goblins. Capturing their leader would be excellent for the resistance from the goblins. The captured captains started laughing, calling them fools. Were they still there to dream? They would be swiftly defeated by them. The MC turns and says that if he hadn't opened his mouth, he wouldn't have even remembered the existence of humans. The goblins approach the captain, but the MC says there was still another human there. The captain desperately asks what they were planning. The goblin is grabbing the human's face by the mouth, saying that finally, it was his turn, and the human's skin was too soft, making the captain dead. Cavalier is silent, forced to watch from the child's hand. A few hours later, the captain is exhausted, lying face down, practically unconscious. The goblin asks Lintian if they are going to attack the big goblin tribe, to which he confirms that they are, and that they will capture their leader. He even has a new name for the tribe, Goblin of the tribe. The goblin starts shouting and celebrating, calling him power. The tribe now has a name. The elf says they must be very strong since they defeated so many tribes. But the protagonist says not to worry because he has confidence. He still has a trump card he hasn't used yet. And with that statement, we see Evelia tied up and nearly fully unclothed. The next day, we see the protagonist watching from somewhere with a very good view. He could see everything perfectly. It was time to see their power. He was aiming at the Blood Fawn tribe in the Enchanted Forest. There were indeed many large goblins, but he thought it was possible to deal with all of them. He sees the leader approaching and notices that the goblins seem very afraid. In fact, it was impressive. The leader of the Blood Fawn tribe was, in fact, a goblin hero. The MC notices that he doesn't seem that powerful. With a combat power of 900, a dozen goblins would be enough for him, but capturing him alive would be difficult. The paralyzing poison wouldn't be as effective as the force with him, so he would have to think of another solution. He speculates that if he could use the imprisonment magic that Evelia used on him on that guy, then he decides to go see her. Back at the Skynet side, a goblin approaches Lin and says he did his order. The human was almost dead, and the MC congratulates the goblin on the job. The girl begs her to leave from sight because she would redeem herself before the order. The MC wipes her wounds with a warm cloth, and she asks if he's ill. Not yet, when she turns and sees the goblin. She starts screaming for him not to go through the screams that she is not that he will eat, and gives her a hug, saying that the punishment asking if it is true. He pulls away from the hug, saying that he keeps his word, but she needed to choose her belief. She asks what belief, and he replies that it was to choose or believe in him, becoming his pet and escaping the endless pain. He says this while caressing the top of her head, and she trembles. Evelia had already made her decision, as the next moment she takes a deep breath, and begins to lick the protagonist's fingers. And he says, "Very well, Evelia," while caressing her face. Lin Tian says that from now on, he will be her only master, and she will be called his little pet. Evelia is on all fours, barking and calling the MC her master. He picks her up, and takes her to a hot spring. He removes her clothes, and bathes her. The pleasure of the bath makes her say she would do anything for him because he is kind to her. He says that's perfect, continuing to bathe her. Then, the protagonist says he wants to see Evelia using the Holy Light Prison ability, and she asks what that is. He shows her a book after the bath, and she asks if the Holy Prison is what she is. Evelia focuses, begins to break. Her body levitates slightly as she begins channeling the power, and then a gigantic prison appears before her. The MC is impressed by Evelia's power. They are walking through the tribe's prison. The captain senses their presence while he's imprisoned, and starts yelling for Evelia to attack the MC and heal his body as soon as possible. The MC says she surrendered to him willingly, and the captain doesn't believe it. She was the daughter of the Holy Church leader and wouldn't give in so easily. The MC commands her to kneel and says she's doing all this of her own free will, and she obeys immediately, kneeling and smiling at him. The captain becomes desperate upon seeing this scene. He leans against the bars, grinning and drooling with rage, saying that his actions will make the goblin race disappear from the world. The sole purpose of the goblin race's existence was to be exterminated by humans. The Holy Church would eliminate them all. Lin Tian didn't expect this to be Evelia's identity, so he tries to watch and orders the goblins to give him plenty of trouble. He calls Evelia to leave. Now it was time to take care of other business. A goblin is talking to the chief, reporting that everything is ready, trembling with fear in front of the leader. Saying they will attack the tribe to the south. They will attack the other elves and the goblins shouting about their chief's power. Someone yells for the chief, and the goblin invades the tribe and everything. The chief asking where this inferior goblin came from. The MC approaches, saying he is a heroic blood-fawn goblin who encourages some goblins ask if he's some kind of mutant, but he says no, he's just a bit smarter than regular goblins. But it's not time for idle chatting. He is the leader of the Mad tribe and is taking their chief. For the other goblins, there are only two options: submit to him or die there. The chief asks if he wants to reach the head of the tribe and be dead. The MC says his teams are good. The hero goblin calls him an idiot, and shouting for him to shut up, grabs the protagonist's entire head with one hand. He lifts the protagonist by the head, saying he didn't expect him to continue. When he's done with the MC, everyone in the tribe will be his. The goblins start chanting for the chief to crush the MC, but the MC, unfazed, says the conversation is useless. If he didn't want to capture the Blood-Fawn tribe chief alive, he would have already finished him off. The protagonist cuts off the goblin's hand with a somersault strike, and he cries out in despair. The chief falls to the ground, clutching his arm and ordering his followers to destroy the protagonist. The goblins charge at the protagonist to avenge their chief, and Lin Tian snaps his fingers, ordering them to leave now. A knife pierces through the chest of a blood-fawn goblin. The goblins of the Sky Mad tribe begin to appear from their invisibility ability, and the enemy asks how that is possible without making any noise. The MC's servant says that's due to the silent steps skill, and shouts to destroy all the blood-fawn goblins, as it was an order from the chief. The enemies become desperate. Several warrior goblins had appeared, and everyone there had fallen into the MC's trap. He had used the negotiations to make them vulnerable, drawing all attention to himself. The goblins were no match for him, so he could escape without any issue. But even while escaping, he shouts that he has to kill the MC first, then charges forward to punch him. The MC stands with his arms crossed and simply says Evelia's name. She then begins to cast the sacred light prison. A radiant cage appears, imprisoning the goblin hero, leaving him confused about what had happened. It was a light strike, and goblins couldn't use lightning. And wait, she didn't use it. Evelia is at the MC's feet. She was a good girl, and was even stronger after joining his side. She begins to some time passes. The goblin hero uses light magic and turns him into a stone. Only he tells him to be a good leader. Back then, the goblin chief is chained to a rock, and the MC says that swinging his knife, he says he's finished. And now the goblin poses no threat. The captain is impressed by the capture of the goblin hero and wonders how he managed to escape. The MC speaks to her and tells her to let the other goblins handle the artificial insemination task. She should just supervise. He hands Evelia over to Lua, saying that she's now on the field, and Lua agrees. He tells her that she needs to help him get ready because he's going to need a friend. She confirms that it's really a friend, and he says yes, it's a very important friend, judging by loaded organs. Human forces would arrive at the mother. The Dragon Island was at least 100 kilometers away from it, and the fastest way to reach the Dragon Island was the village Dragon Island. The MC had left several dead items on the seashore to extract the dragon. They would soon appear with all that smell of blood. He was sitting inside with the oxen, just like Luke Skywalker the shelter was going on. The dragon grabbed the oxen with its claws and its mouth, and back to the Dragon Island. The dragon was traveling at full speed. Then it throws the oxen and crashes into the water. The oxen hit the ground. He has no idea how the enemy didn't end up as ground beef from that fall. But he emerges from the carcasses and realizes that dragons don't come just for themselves. But now he only needs to find them. Then something saying there was something strange about startling the protagonist. The purple dragon says it recognizes him. He was the goblin chief who was thinking around his bed. Did he think the dragon wouldn't devour him? The MC asks her to wait because he wants to propose a deal. The dragon finds it interesting. There was a little goblin offering her a deal, and she begins transforming into her female form. The female dragon says that if it's something pleasing, she might decide not to devour the MC. He tells her that she also wants the image on the sword saber, so he proposes an alliance between them as repayment for freeing her the other day. The dragon is amazed at such an inferior being as he dared to challenge the sword saint. This made her quite curious. She was almost twice the MC's size, saying Poseidon, and asked how he plans to defeat them. He replies that it's simple. They just need to send her dragons to occasionally disturb the village of life.
Looking for a deal?
Let us get down to business then. Those must be Danny's dwarves in the cages.
Flank the idiot! Press on! Follow my lead!
Odin bless you, Raven Bearer.
Fate favor you, Raven Bearer.
You've done right by me, Raven Bearer.
You have my sincere thanks,
The last
friend.
of them. We'll see if Danny the Dead One makes good on his bargain. Looking for a deal? Let us get down to business then. Your fate shames me, Hjalmgun. I would have given you the victory I promised, had the Nordnir not tied my hands.
I don't give a rat's turn about your shame. I lost my life and my kingdom, and I won't rest till I've destroyed yours!
About Hjalmar, if he was not such a buckrout.